Okay, what's up guys? So I got my hands on the Redmi Note 11, and even though it's a little bit late, I'm still going to review this device and tell you what I think about it. But before we go into the video, I'm going to please beg you to forgive the bad camera quality that I'll be using to video the Redmi Note 11, because it's due to circumstances beyond the channel's control, and by the channel I mean me. So let's get to this review.
I said it with chest.
The variant I have with me is one with 4GB of RAM and 64GB of storage, and it costs about $180 or 100,000 naira, and that's the device I'm going to be using for this review. I'm going to tell you the pricing for the rest and other variants as we continue in the video. The Redmi Note 11 comes in 3 color variants. There is the graphite grey, which is the one I'm reviewing. There is pearl white and star blue. Now within these 3 colors, my best is definitely the graphite grey because it will show less fingerprints than the rest. Now when you touch the body of the Redmi Note 11, it kind of feels in between a glossy finish and a matte finish. I can't call it a purely matte finish, but it definitely gets less fingerprints than the Redmi Note 10, so I'll say that's okay. Now physically, it kind of looks like it has a more boxy feeling than the Redmi Note 10. It doesn't have very curved edges, even though the edges are not too sharp that it gets you injured. But I'll say when it comes to physical design, it's better, even though it still has the same nostalgic Redmi Note 10 design. On the top of the device, you have the regular, you have the secondary speakers, the infrared blaster. On the bottom, you have the charging ports, the primary speakers, which are responsible for most of the audio you get. On the right side, you have the fingerprint sensor, which is also the power button. Usually that button has 2 functions. Then you have the volume rocker. Now on the left side, you have the SIM ejector tray, and that's it. So let's talk display. Now in the display section, there's actually a bit of good news. It now has a peak refresh rate of 90Hz, and as usual you can change it back to 60Hz to meet your battery consumption needs. That's better. That's a 6.43-inch display, just like the Redmi Note 10, so they maintained their size and everything. Now this display is also an AMOLED one, which means you get as good colors as Redmi Note 10 and lower battery consumption. It has up to 700 nits of brightness and peak brightness of 1000 nits, which means it's fairly visible during the daytime. Not the brightest screen I've seen out there, but it's okay. Okay, so remember when I said I got my hands on the Redmi Note 11? This was made possible because of Pointex Stores, one of the best stores in Nigeria for getting your tech gadgets, ranging from mobile phones to tablets, laptops, video game consoles, speakers, ring lights, and so much more. They're having a huge flash sale this Easter, and they're giving huge discounts on all tech gadgets. Visit any Pointex store near you to get your discounts on your devices this Easter. Okay, so in terms of software, the Redmi Note 11 comes with Android 11 and MIUI 13 out of the box. Now the MIUI 13 is kind of an upgrade because the Redmi Note 10 didn't come with it. So this is kind of like the most stable MIUI, and I haven't seen any bugs or heard any complaints online so far. It's kind of like has the best reviews of MIUI, so I think that's good. So it comes coupled together with the Android 11. We're hoping that we'll get an Android 12 update on this device, but once you're buying this, know you're going to have to with Android 11. So if you're not comfortable with that, then you're going to have to look for an alternative. But I think altogether, the software experience on the Redmi Note 11 is okay with the MIUI 13 and everything. So I think it's something you'll enjoy. Okay, let's pull up the specs. This device comes with 4GB of RAM and 64GB of storage for the base variant. You also have a higher variant with 128GB of storage and another with 6GB of RAM and 128GB of storage. Now, we go processor wise. We have the Snapdragon 680. I'll come back to that in a bit. But then with the Adreno 610 GPU. Is this an upgrade or is this fluctuation of specs? Now, one might say, yeah, this Snapdragon 680 is better than Snapdragon 678 on the Redmi Note 10, but I don't think I'll definitely pull up the Geek benchmark scores on the screen there so that you can actually see which is better and you can compare for yourself. But basically, I think it basically gives the same performance experience, though the MIUI 13 helps it a little bit with optimization, but it basically gives the same experience and everything. Department, there's a little bit of an upgrade. It has a 50MP main camera as opposed to 48MP. on the Redmi Note 10. I'm not comparing this device to the Redmi Note 10, but it's the Redmi Note 11. Stuff should be, you know, the older brother to the Redmi Note 10. You get the vibes on it. So it has an 8MP ultra wide, 2MP macro, and 2MP depth sensing. So the 13MP selfie camera does relatively well. It takes pictures, even though it kind of feels refined, but it's relatively okay. So the 50MP main camera, it just takes okay photos, like photos that you will say, yeah, this is good, and you will like it. One thing that's cool though, I'll admit, is the RAM Plus feature that's also included in this device, which enables you to apportion certain parts of your internal storage to your RAM if the need arises. So it will enable your multitasking to be much more smooth and efficient. But there's a catch. This stuff only works very well when you have sufficient internal storage. So you can't be having a lot of 64 gigs used up and you still expect to use a RAM Plus feature. You need to have a reasonable amount of primary storage free if you want to use the RAM Plus feature, which should mean you should get yourself a memory card to store your other stuff like movies and the rest, and then leave your primary storage for just handling your phone's affairs. So battery and charging. This device comes with a 5000 mAh battery, just like before. Now this is sufficient. People who use Redmi devices know that Redmi doesn't really have problems with battery. Now the 33 watts fast charger, which is usual, charges this device with time a little over an hour, maybe an hour 20 minutes or so, and it's very fast and efficient. Okay, so this basically should wrap up my review. Bear in mind, I tried to make this review as quick as possible because of my camera quality and everything. But if I'm to give my verdict, I'll say the Redmi Note 11 is a great device. You should buy it. It's relatively okay for your all day needs. But if you're a very, very deep or consistent gamer, someone that does very graphics intensive stuff, I'll say you step up a budget and go to the 11 Pro or a much more powerful device. This one is good, for example. And then if you're with the Redmi Note 10 and you're looking to upgrade, you can just watch this review and see the stuff you would like to change and then know whether you should upgrade or not. So please subscribe to the channel and I'll see you the next time. Thank you.